What's going on, guys? FlyBy Simulations here, and welcome back to yet another video on the channel. Today is a big day, or at least it was supposed to be. The much anticipated release of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 launched this morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the reason I know that is because that's when I usually go to work, and I was super jealous that everybody else was gonna get to, enjoy the sim, and I was gonna be sitting and working. But let's just say that it hit some turbulence. From overloaded servers to missing content and even basic functionality issues, the rollout has been less than smooth, and that's putting it lightly, to be honest. So what's going on? Why did things go wrong in the first place? And should you wait before purchasing the sim if you haven't already? I'm happy to break all of this down for you, share some quick fixes for some common problems as highlighted by the latest update provided by Microsoft and Asobo in a 5-minute YouTube video, and basically just kind of restore some of the hope and positivity in the community that I feel like we've lost in the last 8 hours. So that's my attempt through this video, but it should also give you some practical sort of nuance and context as to what's going on with this entire launch. Right after this quick sponsored segment, we will get into everything Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Awesome is a free-to-download application software from macOS, Windows, and Android that allows you to remotely control your PC using your phone. As can be seen here, I can monitor my flight, control the cameras, and even move things around as needed without having to be anywhere near my monitor. As a content creator, I get great peace of mind when I can monitor the status of my video being rendered on my editing software, and having the ability to upload videos to YouTube without physically being at my desk or computer is an absolute godsend. The app does allow keyboard customization as well as mouse support, and can also support games up to 144 FPS. So log on to the link in the description section of the video to see all of their expanded payment plans, including a pluggable device that can wake up your PC remotely. Once again, that's Awesome Remote, and you can find out more by clicking on the link in the description section of the video. Alrighty then, so let's start with what makes Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 unique, which is its cloud-based design. Now, unlike Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, where you downloaded 150 gigabytes of data before even taking off, this time around, you're looking at just 11 to 15 gigabytes. The rest? It's all streamed intelligently from the cloud, intelligently in air quotes, considering this intelligence kind of went out the window with this launch, but we'll get to that. So it clearly sounds revolutionary, except when the cloud crashes, you're grounded, which is clearly what happened. Now, Jörg Newman, the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and Sebastian Bloch, the CEO of Asobo Studio, actually addressed this directly in their most recent video, which actually came out around 30 minutes ago when I was heading back from work, so that's why I included this in my script to kind of mention. They admitted that while they anticipated excitement around the launch, they completely underestimated the sheer demand. According to Sebastian, one of the key new systems, which is the database cache used to load the critical game data, became overwhelmed. Yeah, I mean, you think? The cache was rigorously tested during the alpha phase with simulated loads of up to 200,000 users, but the actual demand far exceeded those tests. Now,
let's just stop and analyze what's just happened there.
I'm no game developer expert or anything, but I do know that these people have been talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, the previous iteration, bringing so many new users to the platform. In fact, I think 15 million was the quoted number. Now, if you knew 15 million people were brought in, not concurrently, of course, through the previous iteration, why didn't you at least think to try at least 1 million users or maybe 1.5 million users together logging into Microsoft Flight Simulator? Now, that number might be completely bonkers, but given the buzz and excitement around this community and around this particular product and this SKU, I would have thought testing more than 200,000 users was pretty obvious. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comment section below. So essentially, the problem here is that the cache is buckling under the pressure, causing the server to try and fail repeatedly, and that's why you're being stuck in those queues. That's the basic rationale behind why that's happening. For players, this means long load times, stalled progress at 97%. If you guys are part of the 97% squad, do let me know down in the comment section below as well, and missing aircraft or content when you do manage to load in. So, for example, if you purchase the premium deluxe version of the sim, or if you purchase the aviator edition of the sim, you might have noticed that a lot of those aircraft that you're entitled to, or those sceneries that you're entitled to, don't actually show up when you finally get into the sim. These issues are all tied to that same overstressed server infrastructure, and the team is working around the clock to resolve them. Now, that is of course PR speak. Let's talk about what are some of the things that are actually going on in the background specifically. So let's start by talking about what's broken. Number one is of course the long loading times. Now, as mentioned earlier, this stems from the overwhelmed cache system. If you're stuck at 90% or higher during loading, essentially the 97% gang, Microsoft recommends restarting the sim. For now, patience is key, and I'm sorry that's the the only solution I can offer you, but that is the reality of the situation. If you're stuck at 97%, they recommend actually restarting your sim, because at 97%, you're practically just already gone and you're just wasting your time if you're just sitting there. Next up, if you're on the queue screen, which is basically saying that you're in a queue and other people are ahead of you before you can access the simulator, according to the Microsoft Flight Simulator team, the latest instruction is to say that this is temporary. This entire screen thing is temporary, and over the next few days when the server catches up, this screen will entirely disappear. Then there's also sign-in issues. So now if you're on PC like me, some players couldn't actually see their mouse cursor during the Xbox sign-in process. The fix is to simply hit Alt-Enter to switch from full screen mode to windowed mode, or you can even use the tab key to kind of cycle through to the sign-in screen, and you can navigate the fields. If all of this stuff doesn't help, you can also disconnect some of your peripheral devices like your joysticks and your side sticks and your throttle quadrants and stuff, and that's also supposed to help in the process. Go ahead and try it. For me, Alt-Enter pretty much worked. Next up, as we talked about, missing planes in your library or marketplace purchases not appearing. This is another side effect of these server issues. The sim is unable to fetch all of the necessary data during loading, so it's not going to fetch all of this extra data that's required for you to have your premium deluxe experience if it can't even get you in the base sim in the first place, which obviously results in incomplete content. This too will resolve once these servers are back to full functionality. Now finally, if you are on Xbox and experiencing crashes with larger aircraft near custom airports like LAX or Charles de Gaulle, the team is aware and working on a fix. For now, consider flying smaller planes in less intense environments. I can't believe a $1 trillion company's solution here is to just say, hey, don't go for the entire scope of what you purchased, just do something small. But I guess it's like a time thing, so over time you'll be able to access this stuff. I wouldn't even say it's going to take them a week to figure this stuff out. It's going to probably be a couple days, maybe a few hours, because of how large scale the issue is. So don't worry, it is going to resolve itself, but for now, I guess fly smaller planes. Next up then, let's go over the big question. How does something like this slip through the cracks in 2024? Let's consider a few possibilities. So number one is, of course, the complex new systems in place in the background to allow all of this. The new features in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, such as career modes and expanded missions, rely heavily on real-time data streaming. While innovative, this approach places immense strain on the server infrastructure once again, especially when it is under heavy load, which is why some of the stuff is also not loading into the sim. There's also hints of a rushed development timeline, which I know a lot of people in the community have alluded to in the past. The official known issues list for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 as of right now also includes problems identified too late in the development cycle to fix before launch. This obviously suggests a crunch period that prioritized hitting the launch date over ironing out every detail. Now, I don't know what to say about that. These are big corporate companies. Of course, they're going to mess up, and of course, they're going to try to get to a stage where they can release the product on the launch day, because otherwise they take losses and they take hits, and there's share prices to worry about and all that stuff. But I don't want to go into all of that. The truth and the reality of the matter is maybe they could have delayed the launch by a month or so, ironed out these details, and made sure we had a good, successful launch. But we're trying to keep things positive, and we're going to get to that in just a second. The final thing that could have also caused all of this stuff is backwards compatibility challenges. With over 7,790 add-ons from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 being ported over to the new sim, ensuring compatibility has been a monumental task for the team, according to what they've just said in their most recent updates. Some add-ons even caused the sim to fail to load entirely. Now, once again, should all of this have been confirmed and checked prior to actually releasing it? Yes, but not everything is perfect in this world. So while those reasons don't excuse the issues, they do provide context for the scale and ambition of this release. And that obviously begs the question, should you purchase Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 right now? Given the current challenges, it's understandable to be hesitant. If you're the type of simmer who wants a flawless experience from day one, it might be worth waiting a week or two, but in my personal opinion, once again, I don't even think it's going to take them a week or two to iron out these issues. But knowing Microsoft and Asobo, when they try to go fix one or two issues, they end up breaking other things. So if you're looking for a polished, smooth experience, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is a perfectly viable simulator. It didn't just die just because Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 came out. All of this footage that you guys are seeing in the background right now is completely Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it works perfectly. So use that in the interim while Asobo and Microsoft get their stuff together, and once they have, we will get a much better experience, hopefully. Jorgen Sebastian profusely apologized for the frustrations and reassured players that they're working diligently to resolve the issues. The queue system, for instance, was implemented as a temporary measure to throttle the access and stabilize servers, which should improve over time when more people actually get out of that queue, I guess. And with that all said, let's talk about what the future of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 holds. Looking ahead, the potential of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and this is something important to remember, still does remain vast. The new features, career modes, improved weather systems, and enhanced world detail promise to redefine the simming experience much more than they already did in the previous Flight Simulator 2020 edition, which I still strongly believe is the biggest sort of renaissance of the Microsoft Flight Simulator era. And while launch day has been a little bumpy, history does show that Microsoft and Asobo are committed to long-term support. Just look at the amount of updates and city updates and world updates and everything that they've offered for free, by the way. They haven't asked us to pay for any of this stuff over the last 49 to 50 months that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has been active. So we really can't fault them for that, in my personal opinion. So while the launch of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 has not been ideal, let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. I know it's a little hard in this community, but let's try to stay positive. Let's try to stay a little optimistic. For all you know, this is maybe a small technical glitch in a long and illustrious future of good, long blue skies and good flights. So I know I have this tendency to be overly positive, and sometimes my predictions don't necessarily come true, but somebody has to do it, and I think I'm just trying to be the bearer of good news here, even though I'm trying to be as realistic as possible at the same time. So if you found this breakdown helpful, and if you found all these updates helpful, remember that there's going to be tons of updates like this. I'm also planning to start live streaming on the channel, which is why I'm trying to set up, like, you know, my face cam and like my audio and everything like that. So if you guys do enjoy this, and if you guys do want to see more on the channel, please do let me know down in the comment section below, or just, you know, sort of leave your favorite emoji down there because engagement points. And give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon so you're up to date with everything happening in the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator. With that all said, guys, thanks for watching and thanks for flying by.